Everybody, thanks for joining me for the Rundown with Ramon on Black Enterprise. My name is Ramon Ray, and so glad you're here with me for another exciting, I think it's going to be an exciting episode, and it definitely will help you live your best life or grow your business. That's what we aim to do here every episode of the Rundown with Ramon. And I'm glad that you're here. As I say in every episode, DM me on Instagram, Ramon Ray Smart Hustle. Email me, find a contact form, and let me know that this show is helping you in some way, shape, or form. My friend Summer Owens of So What and the So What Foundation is with us today. We're going to hear her journey, and most importantly, how her journey and what she's doing today, how it can help you with maybe what you're going through. Summer, how you been? How are things in your world? What's up?
I'm good, Ramon. And yes, we're gonna have fun today. We'll have fun today. I'm good, and I'm just grateful to be connected to you and the awesome things that you are doing. I got some exciting things going on in my world too, and just excited to talk. Yeah.
I know you did. When I reconfigured my social so I could follow you more, I'm like, every time I scroll, I'm like, oh man, that's amazing. So that's good. And that's a one tip. We're not getting into that today, social media, but that's people have to do that from time to time, because if you don't, whether AI or privacy, those are issues, but I personally don't mind it so much, because when I click on a new mouse or a pair of men's shoes, feed me more of it, but if you don't edit and move around friends and all that, you out of what, 500 people, most of us know, you kind of have to say these people, but higher up.
I want to see their stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. So good to see you. It's Summer. Talk to us a bit about who you are today, and help us understand what So What does and what the So What Foundation does today, and then we'll go a little farther back. But help us understand who you are today.
So I'm a speaker. I'm a resilience and leadership speaker. I focus on resilience and leadership, obviously, but also the things that build resilience and leadership, including confidence. I am a coach and a consultant as well, and I write books and I write curriculum. I have workbooks, literacy, life skills, and character education workbooks that are in school districts across the country. Again, focused on resilience, academics and resilience. That's who I am. That's what I do. Through my organization called So What, where I teach people how to say so what to some of the worst things that could possibly happen in life, and the hardest things to say so what to, so that they can focus on learning how to say, so now what? So now what? How do you move forward from that situation? Because too often we get caught up in the problem and we spend a lot of time complaining. And so I focus my attention through all of those things that I do, the speaking and the consulting and the curriculum, to focus on the solution, the so now what, and moving forward. Through the foundation, the So What Foundation, which we just celebrated our 10-year anniversary.
I saw those pictures. I think I did. Yes.
You probably did. It was a big celebration. We focus on my community, my local community, which is here in Memphis, Tennessee. And we have summer camps, we have workshops, we take our kids on an exposure trip to Washington, D.C., and that's strategic. But those are the children in our program. Most of them have not left their neighborhoods, much less the city. They've never been on flights. And so we, through the program, we try to show them that they can do, have, and be anything that they want and go anywhere that they want to go.
Yeah, our mutual friend. No, I appreciate our mutual friend. Will Moreland is at an event with which you and I are part of that circle, and he showed a picture of, I think, some Flanagan, a very famous guy who does $1 million webinars. Point is, he showed a little brown skinned boy in the audience. Maybe he was 6, 7, but Dr. Will said it starts right here, who you're exposed to. So that's just one thought, but yeah. So help me understand, when you talk about resilience and leadership, what does that mean to you, Summer? Resilience can mean many things to many people. Leadership can mean many things to many people. If those are two separate things, feel free to answer them separately. But let's right at the top define, what does that mean? And what does that mean, who it's for?
Well, for me, resilience, and I don't know if it's just for me, it's just in the definition of it's just bouncing back from setbacks. When tough things in life happen, is how do you get over those? How do you move forward from those? So that's what resilience is. And we all have different levels of challenges in our lives. We all have different levels of trauma in our lives. But for some people, they stay in it and they're not able to move forward from that, or they're not able to move forward in an effective way, or to reach the capacity in life that they could had that thing not happen. And for me, it's about saying, hey, that thing happened. Sometimes it's really, really horrible things, but how How can you move forward from that? And not only can you move forward from that, but how can you use the lessons learned in that painful, unfair, messed up situation to take you further than you probably were going to go in the first place?
Yeah.
So that's what resilience means for me. And leadership, I've been blessed. I really feel like I've been blessed to be put and thrown into, forced into, or sometimes push my own way into positions of leadership. And when I speak about leadership, I'm talking about leading teams and leading organizations, which I've had the honor and the privilege of doing in a lot of different situations throughout my life, but also leading your life, being a leader of your own life, taking control of your own life, and leading in back to the resilience through those things that have been tough or challenging or that actually take some people out, but leading your own life and leading the life that you deserve to have and that you really, really want to have. Yeah. So that's what resilience and leadership means.
And I want to get back to what brought you here, but I do have one question. Summer, aren't you being a bit harsh? So now what? I dropped my ice cream cone. You know, somebody hit my brand new $75,000 car. I was unjustly fired. I mean, so now what? No, those people need to be punished. We need to go back and get my ice cream cone. Are you saying just pretend it never happened, Summer? Talk, you know, what is so now? What does that mean?
It does sound harsh, right? It does sound harsh. And of course there is a little bit of flexibility into it, but it's a mindset. It, to me, it's more about a mindset. You don't have to say the words, so what? Although I do. I find myself, it's powerful in the worst things. And we can talk, I think we'll talk about my story, my journey, to say, you know what, it is hard. Something as simple as, and I like to say when I speak, because I speak to young people a lot, the cell phone. You lost your cell phone, you broke your cell phone.
Yeah.
So what? Like, no. But the thing is, sooner you can say, so what? And say, it is what it is. That's what a lot of people say, right? It is what it is. That's the same thing as saying, so what? It's okay. You can cry about it and you should. Yeah. Not necessarily a cell phone. Not necessarily a cell phone.
I understand. But, but you can feel that emotional check. You're not saying to.
No, not only can you, but you should. Yes, allow yourself to feel those feelings, but don't stay in those feelings. Don't feel sorry for yourself for so long that you can't move forward.
Yeah.
A good example, Ramon, I had a speaking engagement in Ventura, California. And I stayed in Los Angeles because I had a cousin who lived in LA. And I was like, oh, let me spend some time with my cousin. I don't have to get a hotel. And so she said, when I went to her place, she said, well, you have to park on the street. We don't have parking. She had an apartment. She said, well, we only have one spot. So I was like, okay. I drove around for about an hour looking for a parking space on the street. She just said, make sure you don't park where it's red. So I live in Memphis, Tennessee. We don't have like parking like that. Too many places. Drove around, finally found a parking space and I parked. This was on a Tuesday. I was speaking on Thursday. So I parked, and on Wednesday, you know what I said? I'm not moving. I got my parking space. I'm just going to chill with her.
Absolutely.
I'm not moving, right? Thursday, I was speaking. Thursday morning, I came down, I went on a little run, and I said, let me go ahead and load up the car. So when I come back down, I'll just be ready to go. Came down, car was gone. The car was gone. But guess what? I said, well, first, after I walked up and down the street, I was like, well, maybe.
Maybe you get a little old and you just forgot where you parked the car.
Car was gone. Yeah. I had to say, so what?
Yeah. So you had to do that yourself.
I have to do it myself all the time. That's why I say it. I had to say, so what? Yeah. I could sit there like, oh, no, the car is gone. What am I going to do? No, so what? The car is gone. I have to figure out where it's at, but right now I have to focus on getting to my speaking engagement. Yes, so now what? So now I need to research Ubers. I need to see what it's going to cost me to get an Uber. See if my cousin it could possibly be available to take me, or she will let me use her car because the rental car that I got is gone. So now what? I don't have time to be mad about it, upset about it, cry about it. It's just no. I go into solution mode. Solution mode. So yes, feel the feelings, get frustrated, get upset. But I immediately was like, okay, I got to get to my speaking engagement. Guess what? I got there and I had a great story to tell. They all could relate. Yes, my car's been towed. That's what happened. It was towed because I parked. I didn't realize it was on a street. There was street sweeping times. I got when I got the car, I had 2 tickets and it was towed.
A double
Again,
whammy.
and it cost me about $1,100 to get it in the tickets. Yep. Again, I had to say, so what?
That's a lot of so what's in one day, one time frame. I don't know if I'd have that grace.
I know, but you move forward from it. So I learned a lesson, right? I wrote a blog post about it. A lot of people told me, thank you for writing this down. I'm going to watch for that when I'm parking. So it's like, whatever, you find the positive, you create the positive, and you move on with life.
I love it. Making lemonade out of lemons. Summer, what brought you to this passion? How have you earned, as it were, for good or for bad, the right to have this resiliency? Clearly, leadership is mixed in there. This aspect of being able to say, so what? Where were you before this? And appreciate sometimes my interviews are backwards. I like to dive in who people are today.
I love it.
But let's go back and see what brought you then to this fire, this journey within you to help people understand that, hey, listen, you can move on beyond what has happened to you, whether it's a car that's towed or ice cream that's dropped or something else.
Or something else.
Yeah.
And I had a big something else, Ramon. So when I was 15 years old, and actually on my 15th birthday, I got pregnant. And I got pregnant as a result of a forced sexual encounter. And that's why I like to speak to youth about relationships and consent and a whole lot of different things. But I got pregnant on my 15th birthday. And that was tough. As you can imagine, it was traumatic. It was hard. And it was definitely life-changing for me. Now, did I immediately like, so what? No, I didn't. It was absolutely a journey. And it still is a journey. But I did get pregnant when I was 15. I had my son when I was 15. I graduated from high school with honors. I was voted most likely to succeed. I was in the top of my class. I got a full scholarship to college, the University of Memphis, when I moved here to Memphis. And even at the University of Memphis, I graduated magna cum laude, and I was Miss University of Memphis. And I started my career with the Memphis Grizzlies, which you can see my good stuff back there. But it was because I said, so what? I did feel the feelings, and I felt sorry for myself, and I hurt. I went through a whole lot of different emotions and still do. So understand that saying so what does not mean you don't care. And it doesn't mean you don't have feelings. It doesn't mean that you don't get down sometimes, but it means that you move forward. And so I did. That was what I experienced at 15 that changed my entire life. But it wasn't until 2010 when I wrote a book about my life. Most of my life, people, after I had my son, people would see my son with me on campus at events. Because like I said, I was a leader even in high school and college. So he'd be right there with me. I was still doing it. He'd be right there with me. People ask, how do you do it? And it wasn't until I was in 2010 when I was working at FedEx at the time. I'd left my job at the Memphis Grizzlies, where I was working all the time with my son by my side a lot. But for the first time I was out of school, I had earned an MBA too. So I had 2 degrees already. And so by the time I was at FedEx, I was just working 40 hours a week and being a single mom, which is a lot, but it was but it wasn't a lot compared to what I've been used to. I've been working 80 hours a week and going to school. So so by the time I got to FedEx and I was working 40 hours a week, I was like, now's my time to tell my story. Plus, I had gotten out of survival mode. I felt like the previous years of my life, I was just trying to survive. And by the time I got to FedEx, I was working with kind of a normal job and I wasn't in school and I was making good money. And so it's like, now's my time to help other people. I could see outside of myself once I wasn't just trying to survive. And so I wrote this book, my memoir, and it changed my whole life. And that's how I discovered a career in speaking, because people kept asking me to speak. People asked me if I had curriculum to go in my book, but students were reading my book. So that's when I created curriculum and actual physical workbooks now that I have in school districts all over the country. Because it's helping students to look at their lives and their trauma, because our kids are hurting. Our kids are dealing with so much pain and trauma on all different levels, and it's manifesting in different ways in their lives. But at the end of the day, so many of them are not living up to their full potential because of those challenges and that trauma. And so that's what my curriculum is focused on, but it's also literacy based. So it's based in academics. and reading specifically, so that they can learn how to deal with challenges and trauma, but also understand the importance of their academics and learning. And so that changed my life. And I quit my corporate job. It'll be 10 years on June 5th.
Yes,
That was my
congratulations.
last day in corporate. And I've been speaking and trying to help people ever since. But that's where my passion comes from. One, because I was a teen mom, but then I was a mother of a teenager. And now I'm the mother of a young adult. But being a single mom of a teenage boy and understanding the support that parents need, that our kids need, and the feelings that both have, and the need for support, that's what drives what I do. And trying to help people see life can be messed up.
Yes,
It can be
sure
so
can.
unfair. You can be born into it, or you can do things that cause the challenges in your life. Either way, you can move forward from them.
Yeah, no, Summer, thank you for asking me this. I have like 47,000 questions to ask you as a follow-up. One, what is the name of the book that came out? Can we get it today? Is it still part of your journey? Okay, what's the name?
It's Life After Birth, a memoir of survival and success as a teenage mother, not mom. Yes, got it. And it's on Amazon. It's on my website too.
Love it.
But yeah, that's my baby.
Love it. I encourage people to get that book, and also not only get it for yourself, but get it for others. Life After Birth by Summer Owens. Summer, I'm curious, when you were that young, 15, 16 years old, who was around you to help you in this journey? Or did you not have anyone around you to help you in this journey? And a lot of this was, I guess, God's grace, because being that young, I'm just making some inferences, so feel free to disagree or push back. I'm just making inferences, is that being that young, you could have been on the side of being like many young people, young and dumb. I say that in an honorable way. Young people are not dumb, but, younger and immature, but clearly something was in you. You graduated, you had these honors, you went forward through the journey was rough, as you said, but still you went forward. You could have been a statistic. Why not?
Well, I was determined. I really was determined not to be a statistic. So I looked around me and I saw other people's lives. And I decided, even before I got pregnant, I knew I wanted more than what was around me. I didn't grow up wealthy at all, definitely lower middle class. And I knew I wanted more. And so when I got pregnant, I still said, I want more. I knew I wanted to be able to take care of my child myself, not welfare, and not even my parents or anybody else. I knew that's what I wanted for myself. And so that's what really pushed me. Now, around me, I had my mom, who I call her a silent cheerleader. So she was not the one who's like, Summer, you got this, you can do it.
I understand.
No, she never said those words, but she was there for me. She took me to my doctor's appointments, and she helped me, and she loved me, and she encouraged me. And then I also had my grandmother. And my grandmother, actually, Ramon, she just turned 101.
I saw that.
On March 10th, she just turned 101. And she also, like my mom, really, and I think that's why I talk so much, because they don't. I call her a silent cheerleader too, because, and I talk about it in my book, I had stepdad, and didn't have a good relationship with my stepdad. I ended up moving in with my grandmother, the one who's 101. Sure. When I was 15. And so that was my support system for those last 2 years while I was in high school. And then I got my scholarship to college. I moved to Memphis. And this is something I like talking about a lot, is they were still in my life, but they were away. They were about an hour and a half away, which is not far, but that's too far to be a babysitter while I go to class and go to work. I built a support system here. And so a lot of people who know me or who have met me think, oh, she had a maid, she probably just dropped her child off with her parents. No, it wasn't like that. I had to build a support system. And so I was in college and I had friends. They helped some, but guess what? They want to do the same things I want to do. They had to go to class. They had to go to work. They wanted to party. And so I had that help, but I also was a leader on campus. And so a lot of those, the advisors on campus, other people who saw that I was working hard, stepped up to try to help me. And they did help me. And that's why I have such a close relationship with my alma mater, which is the University of Memphis, is because they love me as a young mom. And so many people there helped me to get my degree, helped me and supported me as I was working on getting my degree. And that's what changed my whole life, the trajectory of my entire life.
Yeah. And two things I'm hearing here, Summer, is that kudos to the silent cheerleaders in us, because some people are the rah-rah, type. I have a few guys who I call on a regular basis. They sometimes don't return my calls, but I'm on their back. And then there's those who you definitely don't harm them. And it's not a zero, but whatever support you can give, that, because we're all different, that means something. So I definitely like that title of silent cheerleader. You said lower middle class. I'm just going to give you a test here real quick. Have you ever had macaroni and cheese out of a box before below the age of 20? Okay. All right. You ever had ramen noodles before?
Never. That was my whole diet.
Okay, did you have white bread or wheat bread or some other like fancy bread? White.
So I don't like white bread.
Fair enough.
Because it sticks to the roof of your mouth. But yes, we had white
back in
bread.
the day, yeah.
And it wasn't until my son got out of my house, honestly, that I started getting really good bread. Now I get good bread.
I understand. Well, you passed the test, and I'm only talking about back in the day. Good for you. What do you say then to maybe talk to a few different types of people, Summer? Talk to and this is your expertise, so feel free to reframe this question however is best for you, but maybe talk to the young person, your younger self, talk to them. What's your message? What is that keynote? What is that talk? Give that to us in a minute or two, whatever you like, or 3 minutes. To the young people, what do you tell parents, Summer? What do you tell the people around them? Can you just help me out here and talk to different people? Yeah, I don't even know how to ask the question right, but I know you know what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah, I have different answers.
Sure.
Different. All parents aren't the same, so it's one thing I would say to one set of parents versus another.
Okay.
One set of youth versus another, right? But the first thing that came to my mind when you were asking the question was because I got asked this question before,
sure.
and it made me cry.
Mm-hmm.
And the question was, what would you tell your 15-year-old self?
Right.
And what I would say, and I'm getting emotional right now.
Sure.
Is not only are you going to be okay, you're going to make it, and you are going to blow your mind. You will blow your own mind. And so that's something that I like to say to young people, is that so teen moms are one group that I talk to, right? And they can feel hopeless. They can feel devastated, they can feel scared, a lot of those feelings. But I like to tell them, and then at the same time, other youth who are going through challenges, and they deal with so many different things. Teen pregnancy, and that's why my brand is So What. It's not just about teen pregnancy. It's we all have challenges, we all have trauma. But whatever it is that you're going through and that you're dealing with, you can be okay. You can blow your own mind, but it's all based on the decisions that you make, even the small decisions. Yes. And so for me, it was after I had my son, I sat out for 6 weeks, and I had a homeschool teacher who didn't know anything. I never will forget when she walked into the house, and I just had a C-section at 15 years old. And she came up to the steps in my grandmother's house. I helped her up the steps, a really big lady. And I remember holding my stomach, the stitches on my stomach, and I helped her up the steps. And as she was walking in, she was like, "Ooh, I see you got French, and you have chemistry, you have geometry. I sure hope you know how to do this stuff." And I was like, okay. And you know what it was for me, though? It was a sign of things to come for my life. Is Summer, you got to figure it out.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, you got to figure it out. And it's something that I like to say, and it's a part of going back to your question, even is never doubt your ability to figure it out.
Right. Marie Forleo has a book right beside me, totally different context, but similar. Everything is figure outable.
I follow her and I like her. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's one thing that I like to say. And it went back to that moment where I was helping this homeschool teacher into the house. Wow. Again, I just had a C-section.
You were hurting more than her in that context.
I was, but I helped her into the house, and I'm like, okay, I got to figure this out. And guess what I did? I figured it out. Yeah. I figured it out. I that 6 weeks, I struggled through it, But I did the worksheets and I did the best that I could. I went back to school 6 weeks later. I stayed after school whenever I could with the teachers who would stay after school with me. And I did. And I got a 4.0 that semester. I got all A's
But that
because
does take special resiliency. I think God's given you special gifts, Summer, just to be here for this moment to help somebody else. That's my
and
2
I
cents.
appreciate it. And I appreciate it and I receive it and I'm grateful for it. But I feel like we all can be a little bit stronger
Sure.
than we think that we are. We all can do a little bit more than we think that we can.
Sure.
But it all comes down to believing that you can.
Yeah.
And for me, that's what it was. It's like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. And I did. And like I said, I've gone through life, even when I got to college, because has it been hard times? Yes. As a college student, as a young professional, as an older professional, as an entrepreneur, oh my God.
Yes.
It's hard.
Yeah.
But you have to believe that you can. And when the challenges come, say, so what? And then just go to immediately to so now what? Okay, that happened. What am I gonna do about it?
Move on. Yeah. Yeah. What am I gonna? I love how you say that. And what do you say? Two more things as we will probably wrap up in a few minutes, Summer. But what do you say to perpetrators? The wrong word, because this is very broad. I was fired from the United Nations, and there was a man who I never forget his name. My whole family knows his name. We all know his name in the situation, and I think I've forgiven him. I think I have. I only know if I'm around a corner one day and he jumps up, without me being able to be all nice and cute on the Zoom, right? That's when I'll know if I have or not. But what do you say to whether they're a very harmful perpetrator or just somebody who accidentally bumped your car? If you get what I'm saying, what do you say to so got it. You have to move on, you heal. What is your message to young people who say, my daddy beat me, my mommy called me fat, I was bullied? Anything that they're supposed to say to the other? What does Summer tell them?
So I feel like I'm an expert on resilience, but not an expert on forgiveness.
Okay, fair enough.
Just honest, to be real honest, and because it's tough.
Yeah, it is.
That is a tough thing. And I work through that because again, something really hard happened to me.
Yeah.
And have I completely forgiven? No.
Sure.
And that's not the only situation or relationship in my life where I can honestly say that forgiveness is a hard thing.
It is.
However, it is something that, and I think it's a spectrum too, and a continuum, right? So it's not a moment in time and a one-time done thing. I don't believe that. Yeah. But it's a process. Yes. And so, I think the first step in it, though, is to recognize, is it holding me back?
Yes. And that's a key. And I think that for many, Summer, that's a key part. And that's why I said for my own vulnerability, I can't stand here today and say, yeah, because I haven't been fully tested, but I'd like to think something, but no, but I definitely appreciate that as well. And then what are your thoughts, Summer? What going back to the supporters around people like the younger Summer, what would you tell Ramon, who's around people who are hurting? Is there anything else I should know, I should do, not do to help others who I suspect or I see are hurting? What can I do?
Well, one thing that I definitely think we all should do is recognize that probably everyone that you encounter is hurting.
Yes.
Everybody is hurting. Everybody is dealing with something. Mm-hmm. And so I think in general, we should all be more compassionate. And treat people like I don't know what they're going through, but they're probably going through something. So let me give more grace.
Yeah, that's true.
Let me give more grace. And so that's how I try to treat people, especially because I know a lot of things that I deal with and that I feel that nobody has a clue about.
That's right.
And so some of the things that I say and that I do, I'm trying to be really, really careful because it could be triggering to the next person, unintentionally. And so that's the other thing that I would say too, is don't be afraid of professional help. So it was a long time before I sought counseling. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I grew up in my family. There's no knock on my family at all, but that is something that's kind of common in our community, right?
Absolutely, sure.
Not seeing the importance of it. And so it wasn't until I was an adult that I got counseling, that I
Yeah.
started getting counseling. And so I think that that should be a regular practice for us.
Yeah, we watch too much Medea, and there's no professional help in Medea movies, and there's none. There's just Medea. That's all we've watched.
I'm telling you, we have to learn how to talk
Yes.
about what our challenges are and what our problems are. But yeah, that's probably some of the best advice that I would give. And even on the forgiveness stuff is just, that's it is part of being resilient and moving forward. And sometimes it's just distancing yourself from a situation but to understand that, to not be stuck in a situation. So whatever it is that has you stuck in a situation, is to be really conscious about taking steps to get out.
I think that is powerful, Summer. And I think even myself, I'd like to think I'm a decent, good person. I don't bully nobody. I'm 50 years old, and I'd like to think I've gotten all that yuckiness out of me. But I have to learn, Summer, that, the traits that I have and everybody doesn't have, I have to not be so hard on people, as I say it clumsily. But my point is, I've helped young people before. There's this one girl, I can remember, young girl. She was so shy to bring out the food plates and serve. I was like the head maitre d' training kids. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Just go out there and give them the plates. She was actually shaking, but I had to stop myself. Say, Ramon, that's your gift, your strength. This 14-year-old, 16-year-old girl is afraid. And I had to stop and say, you know what? Don't worry. And I helped her through it. So just confessing myself, even if it's not a trauma issue, just being with my wife, being empathetic. When she's like, Ramon, I'm shy, I don't want to go up front. I'll go in front of anybody. Yeah. But I realized, Ramon, this is not her journey. So I hear you 100%. Empathy.
Yeah. And just understanding we're different. And I'll tell you, Ramon, my mom will probably be the main one to say, I'm not the most patient. Because I'm kind of like you just described. Like, just make it happen. Just do it. Like, what's the big deal? But to take a minute to understand we're all different. Yeah. We all have different strengths, and we all have the other thing. The deeper thing is we all have different trauma and challenges, right? So we have no idea. Instead, I always create a story in my mind, whether it's true or not, about other people in their situation. So that girl that you were talking about, who knows? Maybe she got beatings every time she had to go out, or she was put out, or she got put out on display and sexualized. You never know why a person is the way that they are. And so that helps to give people, for me, helps me to give them more grace when I'm like, this could have happened, that could have happened. These could have been the reasons why they are that way. Right. So let me be more kind and gracious and figure out how I can help them instead. Yeah.
As I have my ways, I am, so no, I appreciate it. Summer Owens, one more time, give us your full name of your business and your foundation. And my guess is those who want to take action and maybe help others, can we donate, do something? Can you feel free to talk about that? The business side, the nonprofit, feel free to take whatever this platform may be worth and share with the Rundown with Ramon audience more about yourself professionally, but more, if we can, how we can support.
Absolutely. So Summer Owens, and my website is my name, summerowens.com. I'm a speaker like you, Ramon, and I love speaking to audiences of all types, especially youth and young adults. I do a lot of professional development. I work in a lot of education settings, so colleges and universities as well as schools. The curriculum that I have, like I said, it's been awesome. It has been amazing. I have a lot of data behind it now, which I'm super excited about that, because everybody in academia loves data. Yeah. But it's been impactful. That's the thing. It has changed the way a lot of young people have been thinking and the decisions that they make so that they can be successful. What I call so what success. That's success in spite of any obstacles that they face. Absolutely. And then I have the foundation, which is the So What Foundation. And that website, you can link to that or go to that from my website, summerowens.com. It is the sowhatfoundation.org. But go check out summerowens.com first, because that tells you a full story behind the foundation and why I started the foundation. And of course, we are a 501c3 organization, so we're always taking donations, and we're just happy. And I feel blessed that I'm able to, I feel like, change the world. One child, one person, one professional, one whoever at a time, by teaching them how to say so what. Yes. Whether it's through my for-profit business, the speaking, the curriculum, the consulting, or through the nonprofit.
I love that. And can I tell you something corny, very corny? Summer, it just came to me just now. Very corny.
I love corny.
Good. I think if we all have solutions and systems and success and we solve problems in a softer heart, we just be better people. That's just what I think. That's corny.
I don't think that's corny
all the S's I wanted to put.
I love alliteration. Oh, you should see my stuff. All my stuff. I love
sure.
alliteration. No, not corny at all. Those are just facts.
Yes.
Those are facts. If we can all learn how to do that, then yes, we will all be more successful. We'll be happier and more fulfilled. For sure.
Absolutely. Summer Owens, thank you for joining us on the Rundown with Ramon. Everybody, you've just heard Summer Owens helping us understand how we can be more empathetic, how we can move forward, and so what's next? I'm Ramon Ray on the Rundown with Ramon, hosted by Black Enterprise. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget, please do contact me, DM me, let me know, fax me, TikTok me, carrier pigeon me, postal mail me, whatever is best for you. But just let me know that this show is helpful for you, or let me know you don't like this show. That's great too. Just let me know something. But thanks for joining me on the Rundown with Ramon. We couldn't be here without you. Thanks.